and welcome to the cronecast at the rising moon. Hey guys, it's been a minute since I've been able to do a pick a card. My collective was a little bit cut off from readings for me for a while because apparently my guides wanted everybody to look within, to follow their own counsel, and to learn how to live day by day to help heal anxiety and a tendency towards codependency. Remember, codependency is not an insult. It is the result of a traumatic, emotional, energetic injury, usually at a formative stage. So today's pick a card is what do you need to know? And we've got a pick a deck going. When you pick the pile, be aware I'm going to flip the top card as the reading starts in the pick a card. See which one really calls out to you, which one you're drawn to. There's piles 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take a moment, really concentrate, ask to be guided to the answers, and go with that one. And this is not a pick a card where more than one pile is likely to be appropriate. And heads up, it is very unlikely to be about love, because that is part of the reason that my guides kept cutting me off. I have like 4 pick a cards that never made it up onto YouTube because the files got corrupted and all kinds of things. I was very clearly being blocked. Let's see what happens with today. I will see you at the time of your reading. Okay guys, let's get started. If you picked pile number 1, then this is your reading. I'm putting the number 1 over there so that people can easily fast forward to their reading, but there will, as always, be a timestamp in the description box down below. This is the Radiant, what is this called? This is the Radiant Wilds Tarot. And this is the 8 of Wands in reverse, which is the card that came up on top. I did shuffle beforehand. I'm going to shuffle again. But that can be about a delayed journey. It can be about a blocked journey. Let's see what's coming up here. I have the Empress in reverse as the first card. Now, the Empress in reverse is an interesting card because my favorite description of the Empress is always going to be that she is endlessly resourceful. For me, the Empress in reverse has several meanings, but the primary one is thinking outside the box for an innovative solution. It can also be, hey, relax, goof off, don't work so hard, and don't worry so much. It can be the end of a cycle, as the Empress in the upright can be the beginning of a cycle. Let's get the rest of the infinity spread down. I have that with the 10 of Wands in reverse, which is letting go of something, releasing a burden. This is one of the surrender energies. It can also be releasing things from the past that no longer serve you. That is one of the things that can hold up a healing journey, is when we're still clinging to some of our constructs from the past, where our paths diverge sometimes with people, with goals. And if we keep trying to hold on to it, it keeps us from making much progress on our path because we're trying to cling to something that we've either grown out of or is not meant for us. That comes out with the 2 of Swords in the upright, which is sometimes being in denial. It's a card about choices as well. This is a particularly vibrant energy with the throat chakra and communication. The 2 of Swords is really, it's one of those, remember, denial is a protective device within our psyche. If you are in denial about potentially the worth of a relationship or something that you were pursuing, it isn't because you're broken or sick. It's because things come to us at the rate and the pace at which we can process them. That's coming out with the Page of Wands in the upright, which is the start of something new and the start of something that's exciting. It can be a new lover. It can be a new project. The Wands are all about fire and drive. Now remember, the Wands can be about fire signs, but if you've been watching me for a little bit, you know I don't really read by astrology signs. I read by personality traits. So it can be the start of something new and passionate. That's coming out with the Hierophant in reverse. Hey, this is interesting because the way an infinity card spread is read is like there are 2 sentences and then these cards will also interrelate. The Hierophant in reverse, oddly enough, is one of the non-traditional cards, meaning think outside the box. Follow your own guidance. Don't walk in lockstep with others. Figure out what you think and feel about things to really have your true power at your command. Meaning other people's answers, you might pick and choose from belief systems in order to cobble together your best approach to, as for instance, a spiritual practice. Because the Hierophant in the upright is a card of higher learning. In reverse like this, it can also be putting the lessons into play in a way that suits your particular needs. And again, it's informed by the Empress in the reverse above it, which is about thinking outside of the box and finding innovative solutions. Justice in the upright, the card for Libras, but is also the card of facing a truth, is also the card of fair and balanced situations. It is also the card of divine timing. It really is like one of the things that you have really focused on in the past is no longer something that is drawing your attention as much. This is somebody, this Ten of Wands in reverse, who is more likely to trust in the divine, because the Justice card can also be a card of trusting the divine. It is also a legal proceeding card. I have nothing here supporting that. That comes out with the Ace of Pentacles in the upright, which is the start of something new and successful. And then that's coming out with the Three of Pentacles in the upright. This is very centered on like work and progress and career. I usually do take 2 qualifier cards or clarifier cards. I'm going to put them over there face down. I haven't taken a look at them yet either. I'm going to continue with the reading, see how it develops, and then I will flip those as we go. All right, let's get a Purple Canyon Wellness card because there's excellent advice about what to do. What's coming up is more activity in your life. There are new projects coming your way, and if it's been like a lull in your work life, know that that is temporary and that things are kind of getting off the ground. With this, it's time. Ace of Pentacles. Everything here is saying that everything that you have been denied in terms of success is beginning to come together through your efforts. You did have to learn not to exhaust yourself, which apparently is like a lot of people who have codependency. Again, it is never an insult. It is a traumatic emotional injury sustained at a formative age. What can happen is that people in pursuit of something, whether it is success or approval or trying to do a project or build a business, they'll overcommit. There's a lot of workaholism within codependency because it means that you do not have a strong sense of self outside of your relationship to a person, place, or thing. And sometimes that codependency is about work as well. You may have been being taught work-life balance, healthy. I'm laughing because that was obvious from space. Physical health looks different for everyone. Therefore, I will listen to my body and do what is best for it. What works for me may not work for others, and that is okay. That is one of the lessons of this particular draw. If you have been being denied answers on what am I supposed to do next, what am I supposed to do next, you were supposed to get into a rhythm of not confusing your identity with your profession. And that can happen to people who are very prone to extreme amounts of effort. You have kind of a lot coming up. I'm going to go for my first clarifier over here as well. And that's coming out with the World in the upright, which is success. It's one of the karmic cards. It's complete cycles and a new one beginning. And then we're taking the next one, which is the Six of Pentacles in reverse, which can be like an unbalanced state within the world as well. It can be more output than input. It is a reminder to make sure that you're balancing as much as anything. Listen, one of the things that's happening and one of the things that delayed you is your work life is going to get busy enough that you are going to have to be the determining factor in whether or not you exhaust yourself. This is somebody who can drain themselves very easily. If you're in a healing or an educating profession, be aware that quite frequently people who are not well healed don't have great boundaries, so you need to have them. And that has been one of the hardest things for most of the people who I know and help to learn, is that it's not about learning how to say no and feel like I have the right to say no. It is more about checking in with yourself and not doing things by some prescribed method. Think outside the box, do things in your own way. Sometimes you're going to need more rest. Sometimes you're going to have more energy. Do not overcommit your energy to one single area of your life, because you do that. You do that. And it's not an insult. It's a reminder about how to keep yourself healthy. Let's see what we've got from the Soul Helper. Wow, there is a lot of please do not conform energy. Don't conform, don't conform, don't conform. To conform is to die inside. Be brave and be yourself. If you have always been a little bit different, it may have made you feel isolated at different points in the past. But it wasn't because you're some freak of nature and you will never know inclusion. It is because you were made different for a different purpose. As so frequently happens, not everybody comes here to have the same experience. Everything about you has a purpose, even if it's the stuff that you're trying to heal and bring underneath your control. By the way, this is somebody who's really gotten a handle on things. If you are a little bit like me and you struggle with the amount of fire that you have in your personality, know that you never get to stand down on that. If you have a fiery temper, I have a fiery temper, what you always have to be is aware that you have it and making sure that your reactions are proportionate to the moment and that you don't allow the fact that you contain more than others. Because here's somebody who's not in an energetic balance, and it's because you kind of vacillate between big energies. That's the thing. Healers always do. Psychics always do. You always have to have a tremendous amount of personal energy to do this effectively. And why? Because universal energy channeled through anybody is, like, first of all, it can burn a lot of calories, so that's a nice part of it, but it's also because it's a tremendous amount of energy. You will always have to be aware that you need to have a robust system around how to maintain your personal energy, and that includes plenty of time off. Please do not measure your success solely by a bank account. Try to remember that if you're going towards your purpose is coming towards you. And if you do not like the pace at which things have been going, please examine yourself for what are they asking me to fix in this imbalance. Here's the thing, again, you have a hard time resisting being a workaholic. You have a hard time resisting like filling your time up with tasks because you apparently don't like to be alone with your thoughts very much. And here's the thing, I get that because rumination is so bad for anxiety. What you can do is envision things that are good, have happy memories. I always tell people who are struggling with codependency to not like envision relationships with people very much because that'll eat up your energy. It also can attract a form of attachment, so be a little bit aware of that. Ooh, romance, hooray. And then what else? Star quality, we want one more on this. Jealous with love yourself. All right. The jealous energy is sometimes about what we envy other people. And remember, envy is not saying you don't deserve what you have. Envy is saying, where's mine? That it's a feeling, a consciousness of lack energy. If, if you've been wondering where your human is, your human gets to you when you're ready for it. And by the way, one of the ways you can tell you're ready for it is you don't care very much any longer. And it's not because you've given up on love or you're jaded or you're cynical. It's because you're invested in all parts of your journey, not just the ones that are kind of sold to us as being the pinnacle of emotional attachment. Meaning romance is great, but it's only one form of love. There is connection with friends. There is connection with the world around us. There is connection to your work at an appropriate level as well. So mostly the message from this is there's a lot coming up for you. You have been, I think because you almost felt stalled, you have been forced into the position of learning how to have a good work-life balance. Like when nothing would happen in business, you're like, okay, well, I guess I might as well do this. That has not been by accident. Learn to live your life in a measured pace and a state of balance. We have the Wyvern, your secrets are safe. We have the Talisman, you are destined to succeed. With the Gate, a barrier keeps you from your goal. We're going to put that in the opposite. Here we go. Your secrets are safe. This can be a security energy, but the Talisman is the what is keeping you from success. This appears to be almost entirely a business draw, with a reminder that you're not going to get a lot of heads up on when your romantic life starts taking off. And why? Because you may have had a tendency, this is a codependency card, a tendency towards codependency. It is not a punishment. You are not being treated as a lesser form of life. Your guides are always trying to give you the information that will help you pave the best, the healthiest, the strongest, the most spiritual, the most powerful path. And if romantic details have not proven to be something that helps you, you're not going to get them. Now, can you still get love readings? Yes, but keep it to like 1 or 2 a year. Don't look for extreme details. And the reason that you might have gotten false readings in the past is a lot of the times what happens to people who have psychic gifts is if they hear about an outcome, their mind starts investing in it because they envision it. If you are psychic, know that you don't usually get to know much about your own own life, your interpersonal relationships, but you will get to know a great deal about your path. Let's go for our archetype cards. What's pile number 1 here? I don't believe it. Rebel. All right. Challenges authority to affect social change. Rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. Understand that you are an individual. And that means that even if somebody else says they have all the answers, and they have 12 of them, and you think, well, only 6 of those really apply to me, that's the right answer for you. It doesn't mean you need to reject everything about a belief system or something that is being taught to you, but you are being told that you are a raging individual and to embrace that part. To try and remember that if you do not sing in the chorus, it is because you are meant to sing the lead. Okay? If you have always been different, it is because you are meant to be somebody who speaks with authority, who does see things differently, because that is what brings about change. And if our world needs anything right now, it is meaningful change. All right. Rescuer provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. There is absolutely nothing wrong if you work in a healing profession with being adequately compensated. And that was one of the lessons over here with the 6 of Pentacles in reverse, is sometimes when you learn that you are a healer or you learn that you're a guide for others, because I'm a crossroads guide, you can actually think that there is a divine expectation that you will deplete yourself. Never would that be true. You always have to keep yourself in balance. You are always meant to have an energy exchange with people, meaning if they pay you and you give them a reading, that's an energy exchange. Or if you are in a friendship, if your friends are always calling you up and telling you all of their problems, that's usually not a friendship. Friendships are based in shared interests and good times, with emotional support being part of that picture, but not the whole picture. With detective, great powers of observation, intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Pile number 1, you've got an interesting message here. The message is mainly, hey, listen, we totally get it. You want answers. You're not going to get them on romances, and so don't sweat that part. It's not the same thing as being told you're not going to have a person. It's just, if you are hearing this, you already know this about yourself. It can take up too much of your thoughts. It can take up too much of your energy. And so you need to learn to put it in the proper perspective, and that this particular realm, tarot, is best used for guiding you on your own purposeful spiritual path. And it doesn't mean you can never get a love reading. It's just if you're in particular, part of the reason I think I got cut off from doing pick-a-cards is that some of my clients, like when I was reading for them, they'd tell me about how they had watched pick-a-card after pick-a-card after pick-a-card. And it's never a healthy energy to be in. Like anything that has OCD at the base of it, if you are a trauma survivor, understand that that is a trauma response. And I really do think it was one of the reasons that I couldn't get up a pick a card for love nor money for, I want to say, a good 6 months. It's been a really long time. Let's get this is Ascending the Mountain. Keep going forward. One more on that. Discovering the truth. You stand in the light of truth. Your intuition is going to be flipping on fire soon. It just genuinely is. It's just, please remember, if you're not getting a ton of information about your personal wants and needs, it is because your higher self is actually the part of you that determines that. That can be the hardest thing for people to understand. It's like, why does my higher self hate me? Your higher self does not hate you. Your higher self is always looking out for your best interests. And this particular draw is saying lots and lots coming in your business world. Business energies here, creative spirit, working with others, good success, a tendency towards self-depletion. By the way, that also seems to be pointing towards an economic downturn in the global world. That should be sometime in the fall from what I've been getting. It does not appear to have a big impact on you with this Ace of Pentacles, but you're a little bit blocked on very specific information because you have hyperfocus. And people who are gifted in this realm quite frequently do have hyperfocus, meaning that like you go after answers for safety sometimes. So if you've been a little cut off and the readings that you do watch don't see fruition, it is because you have, a part of you has shuttered you're not looking in there any longer for your own good. And if you're not aware of that part yet, honest to goodness, maybe you're growing into that, or this might not be the reading for you, because that can happen as well. It's never, when you don't find a message in a pick a card, it's never that the reader's wrong, it's that they don't have a message for you. And there are so many wonderful readers on YouTube, you just find a different reader. New love, look at that, slow and steady. Patience. Okay, and then keep the faith. Good luck. These are lovely, lovely, lovely cards. Okay, so is a new person coming into your life? Yes, apparently. You can go to a reader you trust when you meet that person, but please don't try and get information about them ahead of time. If you're involved in a relationship, then apparently looking into the health of the relationship, it's best to have conversations with that person. Only get a reading on an active relationship when you have a reason to believe something is being concealed. And I mean a real reason. Not, your fears are telling you that something could be going on, but you're like, yeah, I found out he has an extra phone or something like that. So patience. Everything that has been happening as the slow, maddening pace that you have been experiencing has been about fueling your success, because you know what you really need for every form of successful relationship, whether it is romantic or in a business capacity, is you need to be able to handle frustration, you need to be able to handle surprises, you need to be able to handle things going south as just part of the flow of a business or a relationship. And patience is essential to good and healthy relationships, because you have to be able to both tolerate and embrace somebody else's little foibles. You have to be able to handle your anger appropriately and not bring more to the table than is warranted in a particular situation. My gut sense is that you've got a relationship coming up, and to just relax into doing your work and being on your spiritual journey. And that to just kind of let it happen. And if you haven't done that in the past, what you need to ask yourself is, did I really like my outcomes in the past? Has this particular realm really been serving those areas? We have, oh my God, patience. Caring connections. Goddess of the moon. Door to spirit, and then rest and rejuvenation. All right. So you do apparently have a new relationship coming up in your life. Let's heed the cards and not go after too many details. If there's no time frame on this, there's no time frame on this. When you hear coming up, remember that could be now to a year from now. Just relax into honing your intuition, learning to be connected to the divine, and letting things happen. Letting things happen as they're meant to. You may not realize this, but a lot of people who have traumatic injuries, the reason that they get so anxious is not that the world is so frightening, it's that they have not built a sense of self-worth and self-confidence through no fault of their own. It's almost always a formative gap, meaning nobody helped you learn how to do that, so you didn't know how to do it, and that's what you've been teaching yourself now. Understand that control, which is really what trying to get the answers ahead of time is about, is trying to control your outcomes, is actually a form of abuse. We can't control our partners. We can't control our outcomes. We are meant to try and be in flow. The healthiest perspective that you can take on apparently, this is a security energy, safe, secure, and successful. And the only thing you need to keep in mind is that you will actually overwork yourself. And please try to remember, have a method around how you connect. Meaning, I very frequently, and I didn't do it today, but I will likely do it tomorrow. I go to a botanic garden area. I have a permanent circle that I cast in some woods there that other people are not likely to wander through. And I will go there to ground and shield and to get any attachments off of me. And I do that regularly. And that is my form of spiritual practice, because I do not like to meditate, and a lot of people who are naturally very energetic don't. It is one of the things in the spiritual community that we don't talk too much about, which is that it really can be very challenging to sit still and do nothing for people who have the ability to channel, because they have a lot of energy going through them. We're going to finish up here with a cookie card, 1 and 2 and 3, and we're going to get out of here. You got something coming up in love and romance. I would not suggest general pick-a cards. Remember, that is working with your intuition. You are drawn to the pile. Not necessarily it has your answers, but it has what you want to believe are the answers sometimes. I love pick a cards, but please, honest to goodness, look for spiritual guidance and usually career advice before you look for romance, because romance reads have a little bit too much of a tendency to tap into the ungrounded messages that are out there that are just possibilities but are not likely to come into the 3D until you're more focused in a balanced way on your life in general. Ooh, jealousy again. Watch who you trust with your personal secrets and plans. Spend time outdoors with nature. Hey, that's what I was just talking about, to reconnect and replenish. We want one more on this. Love. Alrighty. So listen, guys, nothing about the person, nothing about a person. This is not a twin flame and separation card energy, by the way. Honest to goodness, there does not appear to be any connection to the person that is going to show up in your life. You do have somebody coming in. You're being reminded to keep it in a very healthy energy, and that if you have had a tendency towards codependency, that you're currently healed, but that it will always be a slippery slope upon which you stand. Watch your methods around how you have your relationships to get better and healthier outcomes. And you're not being told that you're broken. You're actually being told that you're very special in a very giving way, but that you need to determine your focus and where you take those gifts. That was your message, pile number 1. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. Don't forget my new podcast, Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica. Take care and be truly well. Welcome back. Hey, if you chose pile number 2, this is your reading. We're putting number 2 over there so people can easily fast forward to their reading. I did shuffle these off camera to get the central message for this reading, and it is the Death card in reverse, which is closure, things coming to an end. Remember, sometimes we have to choose closure. Sometimes we have to choose our peace. Sometimes, because people frequently don't know why they did what they did, if you're looking to another person for closure, if they don't know, how are they ever going to tell you? Most people are very confused by their inner worlds because they have their own unhealed trauma. And a lot of the times, and the ultimate answer on everything is not, why did you do that to me? It is rather, it was about them. It was something they were dealing with. It was how they viewed the world. Even if they did something kind of crappy to you, it may be that, that's just kind of the human that they are. We have the 3 of Swords in reverse as the first card out. We're doing an infinity spread. 3 of Swords in reverse for me is a card of being healed from heartbreak. It can take a really long time to heal from heartbreak. It's very individual, and it depends on how much grief you have to process. If you've had a lot of repressed grief, trauma survivors, I deal almost exclusively with trauma survivors because like energy attracts like energy. Trauma survivors often learn to repress their feelings for emotional safety, which means that you may have had a lot of compounded pain or sorrow or grief because it makes them feel vulnerable to show other people that they're sad, so they learn to repress it. Coming out with the 10 of Swords in the upright, which is a spiritual enlightenment card. It's also something being done and over. The time of heartbreak, grief, and pain has ended. It is time to move into a new energy, but that does have to do with that Death card in reverse, is allowing the past to let it go. Prior relationships, prior connections, even if you don't understand what happened, understand yourself and you'll have all the information that you need. We have that with the Knight of Swords in the upright, which is swift progress. It can be air travel. It is the swiftest moving energy in the deck as well. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, which is one of the few cards I see as failure or disappointment. I'm not seeing it that way. In the 7 of Pentacles in the upright is the toil and labor card. It is the putting in the work. It's the investment card. In reverse like that, it is a relax and go with the flow energy with this particular energy. If you have not achieved closure yet, you do need to lean in on achieving it by choosing it. If you have been looking to another person to give your closure, you are giving your power of your life and whether or not you move forward to another person who, particularly if you're seeking closure, hurt you in the first place. Let that person go and understand that, just learn from the lessons to look for red flags that you might have missed so you don't have them in your path in the future. 4 Cups in the upright, being haunted by something, underlying issues. I think that you had a lot of repressed emotions, and that was why it took a lot longer for something to be resolved than you thought it would be. With the Temperance card in the upright, which is the Patience card, it's the Sagittarius card, it's the Alchemy card, it's the Hidden 2 of Cups card, and it's also the Healed card. One of the cards for the Archangel Raphael. If you experienced betrayal in your past, you also had to go through a period in which you reestablished your ability to trust yourself. And that's often why people seek closure. Tell me why that happened. Tell me what I missed. And honest to goodness, this is a harsh truth of connections with other people. Sometimes they're going to hurt you. And if you avoid connection with other people in order to avoid pain, the pain is not the only thing you're avoiding. You're avoiding the connection. 5 of Cups in the upright, which is longing and grief sometimes. But this is being healed from the underlying issues of grief, with the 2 of Pentacles in the upright being in a balanced state. We're going to put the 2 clarifiers over here. I'll get to them at a different point in the reading. So an infinity spread, this is one reading, and all of these interrelate. Please don't worry about money. Please don't worry about money. The whole world has a weird thing going on with shifting and changing energy. And it can be like almost obnoxious when you feel the wolf at your door to hear somebody say, don't worry about money, don't worry about money. I'm just saying that the future is not going to hold the exact same shape as the past has, meaning things are ever evolving and changing. And you are always going to be exactly where you're meant to be. So accept where things are in order to understand what's going on with your path. In this particular group, I'm going to get a fortune reading card. If you are still working on healing from the past, understand beyond a certain point, and this is the point where this is not meant to hurt you, it is to remind you that you have the power in your life. Beyond a certain point, you have to choose to let something go in order to move forward. To kind of give up the fight, not put effort into it. It usually has to do with why somebody hurt you in the past. And usually it's because they were thinking of themselves. And that's not a great answer for closure, but it's almost always the real answer, is they did it for their own reasons. They didn't think about how it would impact you or what it would do to you. They were doing their own thing and not doing it well, and you got caught in their crossfire. But very few people can face that level of accountability within. And that is often the closure that people are seeking, is just to be told, hey, listen, I know you did wrong. It's only healthy people can admit when they were wrong. And if you are expecting closure from someone who is unhealthy, you're not going to get real closure, because only true, like kind of a radical acceptance of self and looking at who we really are can bring us to a healthier state. And until somebody is healthy, the only answers they can give you are, I did what I did because I did what I did. They're dealing with their own internal turmoil. Coffin, woo, natural endings abound. Take care with your health. It's an ending card as well. Devil, take care immediately to avoid temptation and deceit. That is the end of codependency with flowers. Be generous. Success and emotional fulfillment are yours. If this is somebody who wants closure on something and has not had it. Had to pause there for a moment. We had some kerfuffle in the background. Okay, so this is somebody who needs to choose their closure in order to heal, potentially from a difficult connection. It's not necessarily a romantic one in the past. But the message that you're receiving is like, let it go. Let it go. If you have not had contact from somebody, if you have never had closure from somebody, if somebody like disappeared, 2-3 years ago and you've never heard from them, just let it go. If they're ever coming back into your life, you will know when they get there. But sometimes we hold up our own progress because we want something from somebody else so that we can feel complete. And another person does not really have that power in our lives unless we give it to them. So you're being kind of urged to, listen, you took longer to heal because you were dealing with more than that particular situation brought to the table. You've been healing and trying to connect more. If you're not, please get into a method that will allow you to do so. Here's the thing, on this particular energy with the 5 of Cups informing that Knight of Swords, if you can make as much progress as you will allow yourself to in releasing something. And this comes out 7 of Pentacles in reverse, 2 of Pentacles in the upright, is being in a balanced state as well. On your spiritual journey, please make sure that you are getting in touch with nature. It actually is a fundamental biological need that we have to be in touch with our actual environment. Whether it's hiking, whether it's walking, whether it's sitting quietly in a garden, whether it's tending to a plant that you have in your house, you need to interact with things that are growing. You need to inhabit the energy you wish to have going forward. So if you want to have a happy and abundant energy, go towards things that are thriving and beautiful to the best of your ability. And if you cannot get to it because circumstances does not allow you to be in that environment, look all over YouTube. There are beautiful, beautiful travel logs, train journeys, walks in the woods. There is always a way. If you're watching this, you have a way of reaching out and connecting with nature, and please do so. This is coming out with the Griffin, honor and good luck. I would agree with that. Water. Emotions are at their peak. And then I have the Wizard. Use your skill to aid others. So there's a little bit of a good news, bad news energy here. This energy is telling me that it's time to accept that something is done, and that it may stir up some feelings of grief, and you may have some emotional release around it. And if you're hearing this and this does not, like this is freaking you out, it's not time for this message, or it's not your message. My dog is sneezing in the background. It looks like it's been very difficult for you to accept that something is over. As soon as you do, you will have a release of emotion around that. Let it happen. It's only temporary. It won't last. When I was healing from extreme heartbreak and betrayal, quite frankly, at first I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried, and it felt awful. But I did actually tell myself over and over again, this won't last. It will get better. It's getting better. And I was right. It always gets better if we're willing to deal with it. But on this particular pile, the message that you need to know is that something has ended and it's time to let it go so that you can move forward. And that this particular pile has been craving closure, and the only closure that looks to be available is the closure that you're willing to choose. And that is not a punishment. The other person is screwed all the way up, and there's nothing that you can do. We have the King of Wands in the upright with the Three of Pentacles in the upright as well. All of these have had so much success energy on them. They really have. Focus outward on helping other people when you feel horrible inside. It will get you out of your head. It will get you away from your feelings. Find something to commit your time to, and please don't make it politics. That's all. That's a really corrupt structure. Find something that's doing actual good in this world to commit your time to when you're trying to help other people. And that is not to bag on anybody's voting choices, honest to goodness. It's just recognize that they have a power-centered agenda versus a helping-centered agenda. Go towards those that help, that are trying to make a situation better when you are trying to get better. It just kind of makes sense. Here we go. Let's see what the Sacred Traveler has for us. Passion and pleasure, savor your life. If you have not figured out the way to do that yet, understand that it does take effort, particularly when you're coming out of a period of grief, which is what appears to be happening here. I cannot tell if it's for a person or for a friendship or a job or a romance, but it's somebody who hung on for a while hoping for closure. And the closure is right there with you if you choose it. Go towards, there's one of them is called, I think, a crystal sound bath for letting go. Start going to sleep to cord cutting and letting go recordings. And by the way, whenever you interact with a free resource, take the time to stop and either subscribe, watch a commercial, and hit that thumbs up button. And here is why. If you're willing to take their energy in order to make space for it, you need to put some energy into it. And so give something in order to get something. We have miracles. Expect the wondrous to emerge. Here's the thing, beautiful success energy on this, just like a bit of a stumbling block around an emotional situation where I don't think you got what you wanted out of the situation, and it's been difficult for you. And again, if the word closure is hitting your ears, yeah, action taker is what just leaped out, you're being told you have to choose it rather than wait for somebody to bring it to you. And it's not quite the same thing as saying nothing will ever happen in that area. Just please don't put your life on pause waiting for somebody else to make it possible again. And that is what really saying, I just need closure, I just need closure. Closure is within your grasp, and you never need another person to participate in it. Action taker. To carry me forth into the life I want to live, I will focus on my actions. I allow myself to think, to plan, and to pause. However, I will not get stuck in the mindset to grow and learn. I take external steps to improve my state of being. Please reach towards your future. It would like to come to you now. Let go of everything in the past. It is actually in the past. There is a saying that the past is memory, the future is imagination, and all that matters is the present. I do not agree with that. The past contains the information we need to learn the lessons that will make the present better and make the future possible. Now, the future is a little bit imagination. Make sure you're as invested in this moment as you are about something that hasn't happened yet. Make sure that you live in a state of balance. Once again, and I don't know what it has to do with because I don't have a figure card on this. The King of Wands, by the way, is a manifesting energy. It can be a fire sign. Then we've got the Sagittarius card down in two different places. Sagittarius here, King of Wands in the upright. But really for me, the Kings and the Court cards are the Kings help manifest things. The Queens are gestating something. The Knights are carrying something forward, and the Pages get things started. The only thing that holds back your progress is that you might still hope for resolution on something that is actually, your resolution is something that you need to choose. Even if it's somebody did you dirty, even if it's somebody disappeared from your life after a big torrid affair that lasted 6 weeks, choose your closure and let go so that you can have full control over your energy, your life, your purpose, and your path. And this is such a hard one for people to understand. You're not being told you'll never hear anything, you'll never know anything. You're being told it's taking up too much of your focus and it's keeping you in an unhealthy place. Please let go. Surrender, surrender, it all will come to you. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Generous offer. Let's see what that comes out with. 1 and 2 and 3. I have a feeling something's happening in a work capacity that's going to increase both your workload and potentially your coffers, your bank account. Financial loss, interesting. Listen to your intuition. Abundance is near. Energy cleanse. I have a weird feeling around the overall energy of like money in the global the kind of sphere. But it looks to me like everything is very good for you. Generous offer, financial loss. Listen to your intuition. Abundance is near. Financial loss can also simply be being drained by a situation. It's also not doing things solely for monetary gain, particularly if you're in a guiding or a healing profession. Just be careful around that. Just be a little careful around that. Let's go ahead and we're going to get a soul helper card as well. The main message of this is please choose to let go. Please choose to let go. If you have been waiting for something to put that final nail in the coffin, you are holding the hammer. Let the final nail in that coffin be. I just choose to let go because this situation has taken up too much of my time, too much of my energy, and too much of my peace. And I want to get on with my own life. And again, I have to stress this, zero impact on whether or not you hear from something or about something ever again. Zero impact. It's going to happen one way or the other, or it's not. And the only thing that you can choose is to be in control of your personal peace and your personal power. You cast a spell with your existence. That's 2 wizards cards. They're all very good, and miracles as well. Hey, listen, it also looks like some money magic or abundance magic that you did is coming in fast and hot. It's weird because it's in variance with the general energy of the world around you as well. Let's get some archetype cards. What have we got for pile number 2? Again, please choose closure. Just please choose closure. Woo! My least favorite name for this. I love it when it comes out in front of a client because I'm like, they're not calling you names. Prostitute. Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Generous offer, financial loss. Meaning, honest to goodness, don't deplete yourself, but also don't let money be your sole guiding force in anything that you're doing. It's an empty pursuit. It's an empty pursuit. Child orphan, independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of surviving. I'm going to take one more on this. I'm going to cut to get the card as well. All right, here we go. Who are you? Monk nun, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So what is selfless devotion? Is it telling you that you don't matter? No. Is it telling you that you have to be celibate or that you've made a divine pledge and now your life belongs to the divine? No, actually. Selfless devotion is meaning that you are willing to see another person's needs as being as important as yours. And that's really all it is. This is a very balanced state as well. In order to complete your healing, the big message here is please let go of something that you have been... It's held you back from greater enjoyment in your life for a while now. Please accept that if something is gone from your life, that, maybe the door is closed, but it's not locked, but the door's been closed. And to take that for what it's meant to be indicating. And you cast a spell with your existence. Hey, listen, try to get down to a running water source. It will help you release as well. It's time to put this thing where somebody wants closure. You don't understand that's a form of codependency. It is making your willingness to move forward in your life in all areas dependent on another person's actions, and they need to be dependent on yours. Pile number 2. Lots coming up with your business. Enough that you might be under pressure to be like, hey, raise your prices, do this, do that, work for that bonus. Please do not make money your goal. It's not that you won't receive. Actually, you had a really good and balanced state on that. It is that the world economy looks to be doing some funky dunky things. And you need to be in an energy where got your eyes on the right prize. You know what I mean? Meaning that you're doing it because you feel connected to your purpose, which is that monk nun energy. Let's get some energy cards, and we're going to get a cookie card, and we're going to get out of here. 1, 2, 3. I still can't believe they're letting me do a pick a card. I'm waiting for everything to crash here. There's at least 4 ones that never made the air because I just couldn't get them uploaded. Uriel, that is the 7th chakra. That is the connection to the divine. Seek out anxiety. All right. Adjacent possibilities with blossoming abundance, and then the temple path. Keep healing. When you are healed, everything that you could ever need is going to be yours. Sincerely. And it's not like by some new, spiritual standard. You have not been asked to release all material goods, and to know that monk nun thing has nothing to do with, kind of signing on for a life of poverty. What it does have to do is saying that you will connect in a better fashion when you believe that no matter what's happening, the divine's trying to help you. If you've been reaching for your guides, if you've been reaching for guidance, if you've had a little bit of radio silence, it's possibly because you've been resistant to hearing the message of let go of whatever that connection was. Whatever it was, please let go of it, because you're not thinking of it this way, but you put your life on pause waiting for somebody who apparently has not treated you very well to do something to make it better. And, they're pretty self-involved if they did something really hurtful to you and have never made amends. So don't give that person any of your power. Please release it and let it go. And if you're concerned about what the future holds with that person, make you your own person. Be concerned about what your future holds for you, and don't worry about what that other person is doing. Difficult times, we've been seeing that a little bit. Reflection. I read these tough and trying times with reinvent yourself, letting go. And then I have positive work outcomes, and jealousy has been all over the place on this with nature. This is a grounding combination. I'm sure you're noticing I don't read these little paragraphs. They don't have validity in my experience. I'm a keyword reader. These basically speak to me in a sentence. Please reflect on what has been going on in your life and whether or not you have been standing in your own way by clinging to something that is gone. If somebody has left your life, let them go. They've gone. And if you're waiting for something from them, you may spend a lot more time without a lot happening because it's not in their path, because they're being very self-centered. And whatever they did was about them and not you. And then jealousy, I want to read this one because watch who you trust with your personal secrets and plans. Spend time outdoors with nature to reconnect and replenish. And then you got that with nature. You've got to ground, you've got to ground, you've got to ground, you've got to ground. In order to get the best outcomes that you can, identify a source of running water. It can be one of those little Zen fountains that's operated by batteries that you sit next to as you try and release. And I've got somebody who's been repressing their emotions because they don't want to be overwhelmed by them. Listen, the only time we end up overwhelmed by our emotions is when we are repressing them. Let them out. Even if it sucks at first, consider it like food poisoning. You got to get the bad out in order for it to be gone. Pile number 2, your main message was please embrace closure. And it is not telling you you're never going to get what you want, but rather you're making your life's progress and whether or not you move forward contingent on what another person who is not in your life is doing, okay? Let them go, they're not in your life. Be in your life, be present in your life, be present on your path, connect as much as you can. And if this is hurting you, that is never, ever, ever my goal. But your guides apparently have been trying to tell you and you're very resistant because you wanted a better outcome. And that's very, very natural. But holding on to this thing that is gone is keeping you from the better outcomes that keep trying to come to you. Let go, okay? That was your message for today. If you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below. Take care, be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 3, this is your reading, putting the number 3 over there so that people can easily fast forward to this, but there will be timestamps in the description box down below. Let's see what the overreaching energy on this one is. It's the 6 of Wands. Oh, I beg your pardon. It's the 6 of Swords in the upright, which is leaving a difficult situation behind, seeking solutions, letting go of the past and moving forward into a new form of life. We're going to do an infinity spread on this. I'll likely take 2 clarifiers. The theme of this reading is unlikely to contain specifics about romance. I had a very hard time getting pick cards up. I couldn't. I filmed like 4 of them and they never made it to air. My guides wanted everybody to take a break from seeking so many answers, and probably because they needed to learn to live day to day, to focus on the present more. Let's get going here though. What do we got for pile number 3? Pile number 2 is going to be pelting me with rotten fruit because it was a difficult message, but I kind of anticipated that part. I also just got a card that ran so far away I have to walk across the room to get it. And it was the 4 of Cups. We'll go ahead and put that guy down first. 4 Cups in the upright, which is the underlying emotions, things happening behind the scenes. I have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, wow. Awesome. Hey, you've resolved some stuff from the past that I think has defined a lot of your adult life. With King of Swords in the upright, which is a judge's energy. It can be an older man. It can be air sign energy. If you watch me for a little bit, I don't really read by astrology signs. The King of Swords is somebody who sees the truth, who's analytical. In the head and the heart, this is like the Dr. Spock card. This is the person who is all about logic. And then it's coming out with the Sun card in the upright, which is healing and new beginnings. It is the birth of something new. It is the most positive energy in the deck. You have resolved the underlying issues of the past to the, like, it's not like they're gone. Like you may feel echoes or stirs of them at different points, but like you've done your work, pile number 3. We have the Ace of Cups in reverse, in fact. This card will inform this card. So the Ace of Cups in reverse is a lack of emotional fulfillment or the release of negative emotions. 8 of Cups in reverse is returning to oneself after a spiritual journey. In the upright, as you can see, it is somebody who has gone on a quest to seek more. The 8 of Cups is leaving behind the past. In the 8 of Cups in reverse, either someone or something is returning to you, or you've brought a process to the end and you're basically being returned to, I almost want to say it's like you've been reborn energy. It's you're the new version of you. And if you sometimes feel confused about what that means because like all of your priorities changed, that's very normal on a spiritual path. That comes out with the 10 of Wands in the upright, which is stress and being overburdened. Can be pushing too hard on something. With the Knight of Cups in the upright, okay, we're going to take our 2 clarifiers and put them over there. The start of something new in romance is being indicated here as well. Please be aware if you're in my collective, like energy attracts like energy. You've done a lot to heal. You've done a lot to heal. let yourself remain healed. Don't pursue that area of your life. It likely kept you locked into an energy that prolonged healing process rather than aided it. Facing a truth about what you're not supposed to push on will bring about greater outcomes and better new beginnings. Pile number 3, you might have been looking for too many answers. And we don't think of it this way, but it can become a crutch. It can become something that we're relying upon to provide us. Well, what am I supposed to? I rarely will accept a same day reading because people who want a same day reading want me to tell them what to do in a set of circumstances that may not be good for them. So if it's a client I really know and it's like, hey, they really need support at this particular time, fine. But like new clients, I will dodge phone calls to make sure that I don't end up with a same day reading, because it's people using tarot not to help them tie into their own insight and their own power and their own ability, but they're handing their power of choice to a reader and the deck of cards. Now the cards are very, very good, but we were never meant to surrender our power to anything to that extent. It is only to be added to the picture that we're looking at, never to be the thing painting it. Comes out with the moon, you will be guided through darkness. And then the maiden, the new relationship blossoms. It may be tough for you. It may be tough for you if you have been used to seeking out your answers from tarot in new relationships. It may be tough for you to have a situation in which it's like, no, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to try and peek into that person's energy to figure out how they feel about you. The only time it's appropriate to get a romantic reading in a relationship is when you first met the person and you want to make sure that they're being above board, that they are who they say they are, because we don't know somebody for the first 6 months, period. Even if you feel a tremendous psychic connection, everybody is on their best behavior for the first 6 months. It is appropriate to get a card reading about what a new relationship may contain. But if you're in a relationship, please don't go to the cards to find out how somebody else feels about you. If you can't tell, then there's something either missing from that relationship, something that needs to be healed in that relationship, or you're trying to go too quickly in that relationship. And overcommitment too soon is one of the hallmarks of codependency. The world will be open to new possibilities in all areas of your life. The moon. Pay attention to your intuition at this time and move ahead confidently. Well, we've got 2 cards of the moon, and we've got the start of something new as well in a romantic capacity, with a robust reminder around, please do not try to live your life to outcomes via the cards, which people do all the time. Your guidance is for your path. It's not to help you control outcomes with other people. Those are the things we're meant to be learning lessons from. And I know it sucks, and I know, listen, there are great readers all over YouTube, and if you want to amuse yourself by watching pick a cards, that's awesome. But do understand, beyond a certain point, you won't get real answers because our guides don't hand us cheat sheets for every single moment of our lives. That is what our personal power is, and that's what our freedom of choice is about. This is coming out with, is that the moon in reverse? Interesting. 3 cards of the moon. It's a Pisces card. That's something becoming clear, and that's answers coming to you with the 6 of Cups in the upright. Well, there's clarity on something from the past. You may actually have somebody returning to your life. Is it a new romance? It could be for some. What did I just say about please don't, if you have recovered from codependency, let yourself stay there. Let yourself stay there. Use the cards for your business and for your healing path. And understand that, like, getting information about somebody's underlying motives, it doesn't... Often, the things that are underneath the surface, while true, do not actually predict what a person will do who has not dealt with their underlying issues. Meaning somebody could love, 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 love you, but if they are still dealing with their own dysfunction, it doesn't change the outcome of a relationship that we're meant to release when it's not working. This is interesting to me because I do have like a soulmate energy around this. Destiny of the Lotus Hope Blossom, ancestral healing, opportunity, and we want one more on this, generational curses. Oh, we've got Kundalini Rising Rex, which is like your gifts are going to increase if you try to, I don't want to say misuse them, but if you try to use them primarily to find out about romance, then you may have found yourself like a little bit stalled and blocked because, again, Tarot is best used for your spiritual path, not to gain leverage in personal relationships. And that's not scolding you. It's simply reminding you, if you want the best use from your cards, find out. And by the way, when you're facing something challenging and you kind of need to know, it's like, what's going to be up with that? You can get a reading on that, but don't get 7. It's called karmic nagging, and they genuinely don't like it. Now, when people are in an early stage of traumatic recovery, I sometimes will see them very, very frequently, but that's different. It's about helping them through the moment to moment because they're not okay. It's kind of like emergency care. It's like the ER of tarot. When you're really going through something, you may get a lot of readings because you're not okay. But as you get stronger and as you get better, you're meant to rely on your own gifts and getting the occasional reading. And occasional, what does that mean? 3 or 4 a year at most. And that's a lot. Good luck in the upright. Healthy boundaries, that's what we're talking about. Financial loss has been all over this too. Listen to your intuition. And then abundance is near with inner child healing. Healthy boundaries on financial loss is understanding that you are not here to work. You are not here to make money as your sole gain. If it's the world that has tried to tell us that. Like we would understand if we lived in a healthier energy. It's like, that's not a really good way to approach life. It is really a much better way to approach life with the idea that you are being guided on your path. Okay, so had a slight technical failure. I've been expecting them. Like I said, I was blocked for so long on this. Don't live your life in a defensive posture. When you have healed, you will understand that sometimes things will go wrong. You will have good days, you will have bad days, but if you are healed within, you just kind of handle what's coming up. And when it comes to romantic relationships and tarot, if you have had difficult or toxic connections in the past, please stop looking to the cards for your relationship answers. There are attachments that are actually attracted to vulnerabilities like that, and they will keep you locked into it. And one of the ways you can tell whether or not, like, release your need to know the answers is one of those. One of the ways that you can tell is you'll keep being told something's going to happen. They're coming back. This is going to happen. You're going to meet that person, and it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen. That is an attachment. Rock bottom, starting over again. It's a grounding energy. That is an attachment trying to mislead you. And it's very, very common in the tarot world. And it's not anything against the readers. They're getting the real information. It's just that in pick-a-card situations, it is your intuition that draws you towards something. And if you have an attachment, it can guide you to false answers. It's not that the reader's giving false anything. It's that an attachment wants to feed off of your focus. And if you're giving a lot of your energy to a relationship, particularly that is not in the 3D, that's super draining to you. Now, we've had financial loss cards over and over again in this particular pick-a-card that I've been filming. It appears to be a world energy versus a personal energy. Coming to life, ghost lands from the past. Okay, ride the wave, and I want one more deep freeze. All right. This is interesting to me. You have something new starting and you will experience a resurgence of an old energy. You just kind of have to put the kibosh on it. If you have been healing from codependency, and why is that something I say every 5 seconds? If you're in my collective, rock bottom is the thing that's telling me that. If you're in my collective, you may have been. And it's so common. I would say about 3/4 of the people I meet have a tendency towards codependency at different degrees. Because our entire society encourages it by telling people they have to be paired up and making them feel like they're like not lovable or good or something if they're not with a partner. So we have a societal tendency towards putting too much weight on that area of our life as well. But as soon as like a real connection comes along, you can fall backwards, basically a form of relapse, because it is an obsessive and a compulsive need to know answers. It's not like heroin. It's not like an addiction in that capacity, but it is an emotional coping tool that becomes a crutch, that becomes a compulsive need too easily. So just be aware of it. And it really is only in romance. And it's why, because it has the most emotional control over us, and that's where most attachments are attracted to. Don't forget to do, if you pull your own cards, if you watch readings frequently, please don't forget to do a bunch of cord cutting recordings, frequencies. Whenever you interact with a free resource, stop, take a moment, watch at least an ad, hit the thumbs up button because you want to give some energy to receive some as well. Financial constraints all over this guy. With the world, it's the world. The thinking woman. And then I've got man holding a heart with envy. This is an attachment energy. Be careful. Be careful, pile number 3. If you are currently in a relationship, know that you are being warned that you stand on the slippery slope and only you can decide to stand on the ledge rather than sliding backwards. It is part of a generational curse. There may have been toxic relationships in your family's history. You are trying to be the curse breaker. You will be guided through darkness if you ever truly have a need to know. Except here's the thing, if you've done all this work to heal, you won't ignore a red flag to keep a relationship, which is where the trouble comes in, is people, like, they want a relationship so much that they'll ignore what's happening in front of them because the relationship has become just that tiny bit too important to them. Again, that is in no way an insult or any kind of, no one's being reprimanded. You're just being reminded. You're just being reminded. You look like you've got successful energy, but it looks like the world economy is like, gasping for its last a little bit. And do I mean that really its last? No, not exactly. It's a system that isn't working. It isn't working except for very few people. And so it's untenable, and it does have to change. And the way that it changes can look a little bit colorful. You are in a very safe energy, and remember that. Grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands, and then release control, surrendering to the journey. It's the hardest thing about doing this, because this is a fun area of life to look at. It genuinely is. But the hardest thing about doing it is understanding that it's not meant to give you a leg up on your personal relationships. I swear to God, this loss, the loving man. 1 and 2 and 3. Previous losses, apparently, you might be frightened. You might be frightened when, like, a very real possibility comes along. If you're healed, it is a very natural instinct to be like, oh gosh, I don't want to do that again. Don't run to the cards for answers. Go towards a robust self-care protocol that includes exercise and healthy diet and drinking plenty of water. And if I sound like a mom, it is because if you want to be in a state of balance, you got to do balanced things. Healthy choices yield healthy results. Getting lots of readings to find out what's going to happen in a relationship, and you're the only person that knows, is an unbalanced thing. It starts to, I don't want to say poison a well, but it starts to pull the energy off of balance, and attachments become attracted to it. Friends and colleagues, and then victim mentality. Interesting with happy success. The victim mentality and energy is very interesting. I will find that, like, I take things with less aplomb when I'm tired and I need to recharge. And so, like, oh, poor pitiful me's can settle upon me if I'm super, super tired. And I always take it as a sign that it's like, go eat something healthy, go get some exercise, do something to take care of myself. The friends and colleagues, and then victim mentality in a stage in healing, particularly if you're working in this, like, a healing profession. It can be astrology, it can be tarot card reading, it can be counseling, it can be educating. Victim mentalities are hard to encounter with people because they've lost their perspective on, like, what's really going on in the world and how much they've really been afflicted. And sometimes they will be very protective of their damage. If you tell somebody, hey, you're kind of in your victimhood here, try to release that, they can get very, very agitated because they think that what happened to them is being dismissed and their pain is being dismissed. And it's not that. It is that when people are healing, one of the stages in healing is the need to actually look at what has happened, meaning you have to accept that this has happened, that has happened, the other thing happened, in order to be able to examine the wound in order to heal it. But beyond a certain point, it's a circular, it's a Mobius strip. You stay in that same energy, and you have to seek out a greater perspective. And honest to goodness, what that really reminded me of is that that's a trauma card. The victim mentality energy is a trauma card. Please stop being like, if you have experienced a feeling of nothing ever goes right for me, why does everything bad happen to me? Understand that it is because you have unhealed emotional pain. Confront the healing and know that only you can do your healing. Healing is a choice. It is not something that, like, there is no healing fairy that will bop you on the head with a wand and everything will be better. You can get a lot of assistance by reaching for your guides, for going towards, healers, people who do energy healing, people who do healing reading. You can get a lot of assistance, but ultimately, the only way to truly heal is to try and put things in a greater perspective. And on this channel, sometimes I'll share that it's like, wow, I had a really traumatic backstory, but I also am incredibly blessed in other ways. I've always been very fortunate. The thing that I always had access to was a lot of books because we had a pretty good library. I read books that were probably wildly inappropriate for a child, but my house was full of books because my father was an educator. He was crazy as a loon, but he was a very erudite man. And that helped flesh out my world. That I fully recognize I'm so blessed, even in that traumatic backstory, because it gave me wounds to heal, but it gave me tools to stay healthy. It gave me an intellectually curious mind that has saved me from that idea of a victim mentality where all you're doing is, why did the bad thing happen to me? Bad things will happen to everyone. It is not a personal judgment against you, even though it hurt you. And honest to goodness, whenever you need to gain some perspective on that, reach out into the world, and particularly volunteering will help you get a very good perspective on, it's like, you know what, I do have good things. Everybody's going to have their burdens and everyone's going to have their struggles. Try to have a good perspective on where to put it and to look for the good things in your life and to count the good things in your life. Grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. Be grateful for your journey, even if it's been difficult. And I understand that if you are deeply in the poo, hearing that can be enraging because it's like, how dare you? You're hurting right now. Deal with the pain. Deal with the pain. And I promise you, when you are healed, you will look back and you won't just see the injuries. You will see the ways in which you learn to love yourself, learn to appreciate yourself, learn to support yourself, and learn to be connected in that struggle. And you won't be grateful for the pain as much as you will be impressed by your own resilience and understanding that everything has duality and dichotomy within it. The very things that lay you low can give you the building blocks for building yourself into the most triumphant and the strongest version of yourself. But you have to go towards it with that attitude. And it's not about calling yourself names to say, like, hey, maybe I really am kind of stuck in this victim phase. Cataloging wounds is important to understand them. But you have to do it with the perspective of, I know I am not uniquely afflicted. I'm not uniquely afflicted. There are people who've had, whenever I'm talking about my bum childhood, oh my God, I don't have to do more than click on a link in the internet to find, I saw a BuzzFeed listicle the other day of things that people they will never forgive their parents for. My hair almost fall out because, honest to goodness, oh my God, were those things bad. And even though my parents were terrible parents, in many ways, they were well-intended people. They had social conscience. They were both very interested in continuing to learn, and they had a great appreciation of love and beauty and art and literature and history. All of the things that I like about myself came from them too. It wasn't just a veil of tears, and that is how you start shedding a victim mentality. And I'm only saying that because we got the victim mentality card. Vampire, hey guys, what did I say about it attracting attachments? Makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. If you feel compelled to get reading after reading, to check on a relationship over and over again, are they coming back? Will they reach out over and over again to somebody who is not present in your life? It's an attachment. Don't think Dracula when you think vampire. Think something that is feeding off of an energy that is created. And it can start guiding your thought patterns, and it's very attracted to that victim mentality, so be careful. Servant, delights in serving others with a free and loving heart. We want one more on this. Hermit, seeks solitude to focus intently on inner life and serves personal creativity. Femme fatale, highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. So this is someone who is healing from codependency. You are being told that as your love life potentially takes off again, or your ability to connect to others takes off again, please don't get reading after reading. It will attract an attachment that drains you and keeps you super focused on it and keeps you from going forward on your path. Release the need to control. Release the need to know the answers. It's a weird thing for a tarot card reader to say, so what can you get readings on? Your spiritual path, how to feel better connected, how to help understand what is hurting you so that you can heal it. That's what the best use of tarot is for. So that was the pile number 3's message. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. I have a podcast called Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica, where I discuss how to heal all kinds of things, and I hope you're able to check that out as well. Please do not feel insulted if any of these things felt like a call out. Your guides want to help you so much. They want to help you so much, they blocked me from doing this type of reading for, I would say, 6 months. I don't think I've gotten to pick a card up this year. I'm not positive, but I don't think I have. And that is because they wanted you to stop getting answers over and over and over again. And if I was your preferred source and you're like, where'd those readings go? It's because they're trying to help you learn to live in the moment and to trust yourself more. Get readings for your path, for your healing, for your career, and for your purpose, and your ability to connect. And again, one reading at the start of a relationship, or a reading like when a red flag that is really gigantic and you just need to check in. If you're checking in to find out, should I be concerned this person seems to be texting their ex at 3 a.m. in the morning, that's something that you can also get a reading on. But please don't check on the health and well-being of your relationships via tarot. It will attract a vampiric energy. Okay? Take care. Be well. Wow, I might get all the way through this. Pile number 4. This is your reading. We're putting the number 4 over there so people can easily fast forward to their message. But there will be timestamps in the description box down below. The overall theme of this message is, Queen of Swords in reverse. Facing a difficult truth is what that is usually about. I'm going to put this in the center and continue with our shuffle here. What is the message for pile number 4? I was cut off from doing pick-a-cards for, I would say, a good 6 months, as your guides were asking you to rely more on your own guidance to walk your path and heal your damage. And we're going to see, and all of these messages have been, it's all about personal empowerment and what to do going forward. I am going to be about as popular as a pimple from some of them, but that's okay. We have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, which is an easing of difficult circumstances, feeling included, being brought in from the cold. It is a way to resolve anxiety as well. Particularly if you had been using tarot readings to soothe your anxiety, you likely will have gotten fewer and fewer accurate answers. Our guides cut us off from things that are not good from us. All right, I have the Tower in reverse, which is ground zero energy, a starting over energy, managed change as well, a new beginning energy. With the 4 of Swords in reverse, which is action being taken, lots of things happening. It's like coming out of this period of like, la-di-da, I feel like I'm really stalled as they ask me to eat my vegetables type of energy. With the Hermit in reverse, which is literally coming out of a period of seclusion. Moving forward, having learned many lessons. They look like they have been tough, but it has been something that you've accomplished. 7 of Cups in reverse, something coming out of kind of the mists into reality. Can be a spell landing as well. I've had a lot of energy around that too. There's been some magic cards. If you've done a ton of magic for prosperity, for money, for abundance, and it's like, where is it? Am I broken? Does it not work? It is coming to you in the time that you can handle it. Here's the thing, particularly people who are codependent will give too much to a partner. And you had to learn how to be protective of self first as well. It is not actually, it's wonderful to share with a true long-term partner. People who are codependent have a tendency to give more than they receive, and they have very unbalanced and unhealthy and unsatisfying relationships because of it. And why am I talking about codependency? If you're in my collective, if you're truly in my collective, you have likely had to heal from toxic relationship patterns. It is not a character flaw. It is an emotional and an energetic injury, usually from childhood. We have the Fool in the upright, new beginnings, starting over again, that leap of faith energy. It's excitement too. This is a really good energy. 9 of Wands in reverse, which is the battles you know not to engage in. The 9 of Wands in the upright is the PTSD card. In reverse like that, you maybe have been learning how to handle your triggers. And that was part of the reason my collective got cut off from me doing readings as well, is that I think some people were using watching pick cards as a coping mechanism. Being denied something is one of the ways to kind of make you deal with your stuff, to learn your own coping mechanisms. You need to have a protocol about what to do when you feel triggered if you have CPTSD or PTSD. I actually have a podcast, and I'll try and link it above at the end of this, about how to deal with triggers. And it's actually a pretty good method, and it really does work, and I've been using it to great ends. Seven of Swords in the upright, which can be a strategy card. It can be a watch your step card. It can be the lone wolf card as well. Interestingly enough, this actually really does depict simply a wolf. Interesting. Two swords in the mouth, and there's like a dragon or a gargoyle or a dinosaur in the background, the shadow of something. Then the Lovers in the upright, which is personal choices, and then I have the Eight of Swords in the upright as well, which is doubt and not having a path forward as well. Okay, like absolutely every other group here, you are being told you are likely blocked on relationship readings for your own good. If you have codependency, it attracts an attachment that has an emotional influence on people. And so that is why, like, it was months ago, somebody asked me when I was going to do another twin flame reading, and I was like, I will never do another twin flame reading, because it turned out to be attracting attachments that were feeding on people's emotional energy. Attachments in the other realms feed off the energy that you create. And if you're investing a lot of emotion that is in something that is not actually grounded or present in the 3D, it gets to take full advantage of that. So it's a form of energy vampire. And I have been doing so much work around getting rid of all forms of energy vampire. Everything that I do, like my collective has access to that energy. And I will go and do some more work on it later today. But I'm almost entirely done with it. And if you see me on camera, and I'm sure you can see just here, I'm incredibly fair-skinned. There's nothing I hate more than being out in the sun. I've been doing it. I got some messages on sunshine and vampires, and I'm like, really? We're going to be that literal? Okay, well, it makes sense. Lore is built around things that were found to have worked. Again, don't think Dracula when you think vampire. Think of like a tick in the woods. Basically, a form of tick, something that feeds off of your energy, can attach to your aura, particularly when you're looking at the cards. It's always a good idea to do cord cutting recordings after you get any form of reading, just in case. Depending on the reader, depends on what they have on them as well. Here we go. I do a lot of clearing work. I do like robust amounts of clearing almost every single day. On this, you are not going to be told a great deal about your love life, potentially because you had to recover from and start again in an area of your life to try and have healthier outcomes, to be a healthier you, and to actually have real love versus love that is being influenced potentially by an attachment, potentially by generational curses, which are incredibly common. Whoa. Devil, take care immediately to avoid temptation and deceit. That is, in fact, the codependency card. Key, new beginnings, directions, and adventures await for those ready to let go of the past. And then I have angels. Your angels are guiding and protecting you on your spiritual journey. Here's the thing, and flowers was on the back of that. Here's the thing with codependency recovery. You have to remember that you will always be codependent. That it is something that you have to maintain a vigilance around, to check in with your habits. When you meet somebody new, are they taking up all of your time and your attention? Are you over-investing in a new relationship? Have you started envisioning what your life will be like together 3 years from now when you've been on 2 dates? These are all codependent red flags, and you need to be a little... You're going to be in one group I think I'll get a romance angel on. Nobody else has, because everybody's been getting this message, because that's where my collective is. You can get a love reading at the start of a new relationship. I'm going to discourage you from getting love readings if you don't have a partner. When am I going to meet somebody? When am I going to meet somebody? Because it gives you something to, again, focus on. And when where your focus goes, if you are opening up essentially portals, when we look into these cards, something can look back. And that something is often not all that awesome. And no matter how protected you are, remember, these are eternal forces. Don't have that sense of invulnerability that particularly people who walk in magical lands can have. There's always something out there I will have to clear after I'm done here. And it is very, very normal. In fact, doing YouTube work, I always have to remember that I will, if your feelings are masked, fill out, I will always have to engage in like basically energetic scrubbing. True feelings are masked, huh? 1, 2, 3. What's going on there? I don't have a figure to attach that to. The winds of change. Your surroundings will undergo a transition. The maiden, a new relationship blossoms. I wondered why I was finally allowed to do a flippin' relationship reading or a pick a card reading for YouTube when I have been cut off like I've had files suddenly corrupt in an upload, and I swear I've had 4 readings that never saw the light of day. Guys, they're not going to show you those answers anymore. You can get one reading at the start of a new relationship, and then if you have anything to be concerned about, then it's like I was saying, I think to the last pile, if you find your person texting somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning and it happens over and over again, you can go get a reading and be like, hey, what's up there? Is there a third party involved here? It's not about, you're not denied everything, but you're denied emotional reassurance through the cards. That is what your healing journey has been about. Number 4, if you have been wondering, it's like, am I just alone forever now? It seems like the outcomes I'm told about aren't real or aren't containing the information that gives me anything to do with it. It's for your own good. It's to help you heal from something. Liberator, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. Listen, I love this. I love tarot. I love the fact that there is a world unseen that is trying to interact with us. I love that we have guides and guardians and ancestors and angels. It's a misuse of tarot to use it exclusively for romance, because it's trying to give you a window into another person's head. And that is what the relationship is for. If somebody cannot tell you how they feel, if you're not certain where a relationship stands in the 3D, then that tells you as much as you need to know, which is, don't overinvest here. I don't really know what's going on. And the cards should not be something that you turn to for emotional reassurance. Honest to goodness, it's a poor coping tool. Network enhances unity through the sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. And then I've got Messiah, and it was like that. These two have been kind of a little sideways, so we're going to go into the shadow attribute as well. Conveys information only for personal gain, spreads fear and falsehood. Please be aware of that, particularly if you have had, because codependency, although it is a form of addiction, it is not like, craving a drug. What it is seeking comfort in compulsive seeking of something. It is a need-based thing. I need to feel reassured, I'll get a reading. I need to know what's going on, I'll get a reading. I need to know, am I ever going to meet a person? I'll get a reading. That is a misuse of tarot, okay? And it just is. And will you get false answers always? No, but it opens the door into a suspect realm upon where all kinds of icky things kind of dwell. Messiah, serving humanity with humility, and then exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause succeeds. Both of these were in kind of the sideways position. Strike a balance between these two. Remember, you are allowed to be compensated for the work that you do. Remember, you also matter. Please don't do things solely for financial gain, but please don't ignore your own needs. And then also remember that you are actually important. It is important to serve. If you really are gifted in this area, it is because it's a gift, called a gift for a reason. You are meant to give it to others, but you're never meant to not matter. You're always meant to consider your own needs, just not to the exclusion of somebody else's. It's striking a very balanced state. Let's get a soul helper here. And I do. I have this strategy card on a new relationship. When a relationship begins for you, and please don't think it's imminent or that it's 7 months away, you're not going to get a time frame. That's part of the deal. And if you've done a lot of work to heal from codependency, and by the way, if you have zero interest in romantic relationships, pretty much I don't think anything in this pick of cards is going to help you, because all of the piles had something about how to deal with romance going forward. And if you're not interested, that's cool. It's just that it's not your reading. This particular reading has to do with you have new things beginning. You are being reminded there are certain things that you should not engage in, certain activities you should not undertake. In order to keep up the healing journey, this is a strategy. You need to kind of stay in your 3D lane on relationships. Everything you need to know about a physical relationship, a romantic relationship, is in the 3D. Does that person keep their word? How do they treat you? How do they speak to people who are not you, which will tell you everything that you need to know about another person. I have a guy here who's super into me, but I've known him for 2 years. And it's just a weird confluence of events. And I'm not seeing him, by the way, and I won't be, because you know what? For 2 years, I watched him kind of be a jerk to other people, and suddenly he's super sweet to me. And I know what that means. It means that the real version is the person that I saw for 2 years. And he was involved. It's a long story. It's a long story. That nothing's going to happen there, but it is partially because when I sat down to consider all of the red flags when there were overtures made, I was like, that is a big load of red flags, including not having similar values. We don't support the same things. We don't share the same values. And so that's not going to be going anywhere. But he's a really nice looking guy. And if I had not been on top of like kind of assessing what do I already know about him? Nothing good. Nothing that says he's compatible with me. If I hadn't decided not to have the relationship based on already known incompatibilities, I could have gotten really hurt. Feel the power of your blood and your ancestors. You are not alone. The time is right. Seize the day and make progress on your soul path. Hey, listen, you're in this super healed energy, but you are being reminded that this is for guidance on your soul path. Particularly, it looks like maybe you were a curse breaker in a generational curse pattern. And that part of what you were learning was how to handle your anxiety in a healthy manner. Most addiction and substance abuse. Please do not react to the word addiction. You have a societally programmed response that has to do with judging the person who has an addiction. It is almost always a coping tool that got out of control. That's almost always what addiction is. If you have struggled with your coping tools, up to and including the abuse of a substance or of a medium, then understand that you're being told that new tools going forward will yield better results, and to not judge yourself on that, just to see yourself in it. To understand that, yeah, it turns out that if my guidance is in a moment-to-moment thing, not in the big events. You'll feel guided to do what is appropriate for each moment if you allow yourself to. And you will always be steered through a situation. And sometimes bad things will happen because life does contain varied energy. When people talk about the divine and whether or not they believe in the divine, they will always point to babies starve, there are wars. This is the world we built, guys. We built it. We're responsible for all that. We're also responsible for fixing it. Your relationship to the divine is to help you feel connected and to help give you guidance to get the best possible outcomes from the circumstances that were created by those around us and the world around us to get the best possible outcomes there. But, the divine does not reach down and fix a lot of things. Every now and then there will be a miracle because, I've been on the receiving end of multiple ones, and it's because I had a job to do. I was integral to other people's paths, and so they kind of had to reach in and be like, nope, we still need that one, and really do a great many dramatic things. It is not about worth, it's about purpose. It's like we all have equal worth, all of us. Kundalini rising, blocked partnership, guys, black magic. Player, the impossible made possible, and then freedom. All right, so you're dealing with a generational curse that you have, in fact, been able to do away with. In terms of the blocked partnership and then the black magic, hey guys, generational curse energy can get to you through love readings. Be super careful with them, okay? Set yourself free from that. Try to, and it'll be hard. It'll be hard. The guy that I'm referring to, did I look into the cards? No, I did not. I looked into my memory. I did not need a bunch of cards to tell me, we don't think or feel the same thing about anything at all. It's just, it's a long story. It's a long story as to why kind of out of nowhere this person started expressing a lot of interest in me. Partially, they simply were not free beforehand. And during that time, I observed who they really were, and that person is not compatible with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep my word, and we're going to get a romance angel. What do you have to say to pile number 4? I have a feeling it's going to be like, no path forward here. There we go. In terms of readings, no path forward with relationships. Don't look for answers on your relationships. You'll be happier. You'll be healthier. It's one of the ways that tarot can be used, but as I said, there are a lot of attachments that go along with it. Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. Your spiritual path. Here's the thing. Here's the hidden, crackerjack surprise, the good part about codependency, and there is a good part. The good part about codependency is that it is always about somebody who wants to give and give and give. It's usually always an empath. Empath narcissist paradigm exists for a reason. Somebody wants to give and give and give and give love. Usually that desire to give is meant to be a global application, not focused on one person. If you focus it on one person, usually people don't want to give back at that level, and so it creates a codependent energy right away. And why? Because they're focused on their own stuff. Focus on your path and your relationships will get healthier. And if this is distressing to you on any level, then it's not your message. It's either not time for it or it's not your message. To be in a healthy place, to have healthy relationships, you have to have a healthy energy around relationships. And like craving one, longing for one is one of the things that blocks out healthy relationships. Crave information on your path, connection and excitement and enjoyment in life, and it'll all work out. Community. Door to value. Good for you guys. Adjacent possibilities with Uriel and blossoming abundance. Over and over again, there has been like a little bit of a warning around the global financial stage looking a little bit rough. But in my collective, if you are going towards your path and towards your purpose, it will work out. And please remember that it may not work out in the it's time for my BMW way, but it will work out in the you do not need to be afraid. You never need to be afraid when you are working in a purposeful energy. You have a lot coming to you. Everything that's coming to you, please understand you may not get a lot of specific answers any longer. Even if, like, I have a lot of readers in my collective, and it can be hard because I am a reader, quite obviously. And can I get a lot of specific readings? No, I cannot. There's only one person who can read for me. And even he is like, yeah, I can't get a lot of details for you. It's because my guides are really difficult to deal with because they're trying to work on behalf of me. Meaning they have the best outcomes for me. And for me, not getting a lot of answers is the best thing that will serve me. Let's get you a Purple Canyon Wellness card. I am going to get all the way through this reading, all the way through this pile. I've been like, are we going to have a power failure? What's good? Is the phone going to die? What's going to happen here? 1 and 2 and 3. It has been a colorful scene on multiple occasions as I filmed multiple pick cards that you guys never got to see. Slumber. When I drift off to sleep, my mind allows me to slip into a restful slumber. If dreams arise, they are pleasant and calming. This time allows my body and mind to reset so that I can start my day with vigor. That's also putting something to rest. So please keep that in mind with evolving. Every day my body and mind evolve. My mind becomes wise. My body becomes seasoned. Each day that I heal and change, the more sure of myself I become. I rise tall like mountains, touch clouds, never to be trampled. A key element in healing is move your body to the extent that you can every single day. So, and if you have health concerns, if you are not, I am like a ridiculously robust person. But if you are not, and it's because of my genetics, my entire Scottish side of the family, you basically have to kill them to get them to die. And that's my genetics. If you are not similarly blessed, to the extent that you can, move your body to keep in flow. So it can be stretching, it can be walking, it can be chair yoga, it can be anything that will keep energy flowing through you. And then take appropriate rest even as things are beginning to happen in all areas of your life. Let's get your infinity cards, and then I'm going to get a cookie card, and we're going to get out of here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. When I just glanced up, it was 2, 2, 2, 2 on that, so 22, 22. Financial loss has been all over this, over and over again. Listen to your intuition. Abundance is near. Twin flame, summer, and then soulmate. Twin flames are not just a romantic concept. They're people from the same collective, people of the same energy. Financial loss has been present in every single one of these readings. It does not appear to be a personal energy, but a warning of maybe because it's going to spark anxiety. Maybe it's likely to spark anxiety in other people, because I don't understand why every single pile has gotten it, when honest to goodness, it does not appear to have anything to do with your personal energy. Keep reaching for healthy connection to your guides, and you will be guided through any forms of difficulty. The overall world looks like it's just going to have a little bit of a financial hiccup that is very, very necessary. And when it comes to abundance is flame, twin flame, summer, and soulmate, I need you to understand something that we've been going into over and over here about not getting romance readings, which is you may perceive a twin flame connection with the next person that you connect with. It is actually that magnetic attraction. It is that feeling of being deeply attracted to somebody. Not all twin flame connections are real twin flame connections. Sometimes they are the ways that you connect as you are it's like that person contains an element that you still need. The dude I referred to a little while ago, like I had that weird feeling of connection for him for a moment. I was like, what is going on here? Because he's an angry person. I know him well enough to know that, like, I've heard him be very angry. It's not something I would want to get involved with. And yet I had that weird feeling of connection. It actually stands in for that magnetic pull, and he contained one last element of don't get involved with somebody that's bad for you. Don't ignore giant red flags because somebody's cute, which has been something that I've done in the past. We have intuition. We have declutter, which is letting go, wisdom, and opportunities with commitment. All right, I'm a keyword reader on these. If you want to read the little paragraphs, I will hold them up for just a moment. I never do. I say I never do. I seldom do. But this is all about learning the lessons of this particular journey. You can stop this at any point and read them. I think they're in focus. Something is coming towards you. You might think it's a twin flame, because you feel very drawn in, you feel that magnetic pull. Put it into a healthy energy and understand that the only thing you need to worry about is blinding yourself to what's going on sometimes, because there are attachments that try. And that's the reason to, like, never take this as an insult. If you are a powerful person, there is more to this world than we can see. In other times, other places, other spaces, there's something that wants your power. It is not a character flaw. You're not broken, you're not diseased. You're hunted if you're powerful. And that can come through our romantic connections, and some of them can mimic twin flame connections. So be a little bit aware of that. That was your pile number 4. Thanks so much for joining me. If you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below. Take care, be well. Don't forget to look for Logical Magic, my podcast. Take care.